control. For example, lots of your party colleagues in England were telling us overnight that they'd had trouble distancing themselves from some of the events at Westminster to do with Partygate. Others telling us that the government hadn't done enough in terms of the cost of living crisis. Were those factors that troubled you as well?
Well, it was certainly the Partygate issue that dominated the discussions I had with voters who were reluctant to come out and support us as they have in the past. In 2015 we had a record result here in Scotland, so we're coming into these elections on the back of a very strong set of results.
Minus 52 Tories.
Absolutely no doubt that people
so
have
far.
a message to the Prime Minister and the government, particularly around Partygate. That's what came out loud and clear.
And on the cost of living crisis, where, again, some of your colleagues were telling us that in their view, despite what the Chancellor's put in place, voters were saying that there simply wasn't enough help available, certainly in terms of helping with sharply rising fuel bills, etc. Again, is that something that voters were saying to you was a reason not to vote Conservative?
Yes, again, this is a thing people are experiencing, be it in their domestic heating bills or when they go to fill their car. I represent a very rural area here in Murray and across the Highlands and Islands. People rely on their cars. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity, and they are seeing a real increase in cost of living and the cost of energy. And I believe the Chancellor and the government have made some attempts.
Wonder where they get all this energy and fuel that they're talking about.
That as well.
Douglas, it's Vicky Young here in the studio. You've talked before about, of course, calling for Boris Johnson to resign as leader. You withdrew that because of what's going on in Ukraine, but of course there are lots of people who sadly feel that that situation will go on for months, if not years. Are you now saying that Boris Johnson should lead your party into the next general election?
Well, I hope that conflict doesn't go on for months and years, but we've got to be realistic. However, we are at a crucial stage. We know in the next few days the Russians want to claim victory in their annual
branch office leader.
And we've got to do everything possible to support President Zelensky and the people of Ukraine, who have been able to defend their country for far longer than many of us expected. However, the Prime Minister simply can't ignore the message that has been sent from voters, not just here in Scotland, but across the UK. Obviously, the Conservatives lost Westminster Council last night. That's a council that even in the peak Labour years under Tony Blair, the party held on to. So there's been a very strong message from the public to the Prime Minister and to the party.
Interesting to talk to you, Douglas Ross. Thank you very much for joining us
I think
today
you should
in Elgin.
stick to
Douglas Ross, the
refereeing.
leader of the Scottish Conservatives.